What is up, ladies and gentlemen? But most of all, you ladies out there, thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg, and this is an emergency episode today on a topic that I didn't expect to talk about, but after listening to 2 days of pure nonsense on this topic, I had to get in here and give my two thoughts. First off, how hype was that new intro? I'm feeling on top of the world. We're growing this thing here. While I got you, while I'm on this topic here, please take a second to like and subscribe to the video. We're growing at a rapid pace. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep putting out content. And this is the best place to get all your sports news. NBA, NFL. We're going to be hitting it all. We're going to hit it hard. And I am looking forward to it. Today, we are talking Kyrie Irving. And the big report that came out from Shams that said that the Nets and Kyrie Irving were at an impasse. And all day today, we heard topic after topic. Where's Kyrie going to go? Where's he going to get traded to? All these teams that are interested in Kyrie Irving. And it is so painful to listen to. And let me give a little backstory on Kyrie to me. As many of you know from the previous videos, I am a Celtics fan. I'm a lifelong Celtics fan. So Kyrie is not my favorite player by any stretch of the imagination. Now I try not to be too personal on this podcast. We're trying to come at you objectively and talk about things from an analytical perspective, not emotional, but a quick little backstory. Kyrie Irving is my least favorite player in the NBA. As far as I just can't stand him. He is also potentially the most fun player to watch in the NBA. The thing that they always said about Kyrie Irving was that Celtics fans were like scorned lovers of Kyrie Irving. And I don't think that analogy hit the nail on the head. Because when we originally traded for Kyrie Irving, I didn't want him. I didn't want him at all. I said that was a bad trade. We gave up Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and then I think a pick or two. And I just didn't think it was a good trade. Because I was never the biggest Kyrie Irving fan. And then it turned out the Celtics were much better without him. So my better comparison is, did anyone else have their parents really push a certain girl on them? And you were like, I don't really like her, not really all that interested. But they kind of keep pushing. And then you get to a certain point and you're like, let's take a chance here. And then you start to date and then they break your heart. And then you have this feeling of, I never liked you anyway. That's how I was with Kyrie Irving. He was forced upon me. When the Celtics traded for him, I didn't want him, but you have to root for him because you're a Celtics fan. He was forced upon me, and then he broke my heart, and I didn't want him anyway. But let's get into it. The media keeps bringing up all these horrible, horrible trades. Bleacher Report just released a trade that they posted on there that was utter nonsense. It was two guys sitting at some sort of podcast on their trade simulator, just seeing if salary caps worked, not if any team would do it. So it said that the Lakers would get Kyrie Irving and Seth Curry, the Nets would get John Wall, and the Rockets would get Russ and the Lakers first. This is my problem with sports media right now. We are pushing out narratives for clicks and for comments that are utter and complete idiocy. There is no way in this world that if I'm the Nets, I'm giving up Kyrie Irving and Seth Curry, who, to me, Seth Curry is a very valuable asset, and getting back John Wall. John Wall's the most expensive player in the NBA on a one-year deal. Why would I give up Seth Curry for John Wall? Even if you say Kyrie's going to walk out the door, it doesn't make any sense. That is a horrible trade. And if I'm the Rockets, what do I want with Russ Westbrook? Because when you're a young team, and this applies to both Kyrie and Russell Westbrook, when you hear talking about potential trade destinations, you hear a lot of teams thrown out there. But if I'm a young basketball team, if I'm the Orlando Magic, who are about to get the first pick of the draft on Thursday, if I'm the Rockets, who just drafted Jalen Green, if I'm the Pistons, who just drafted Cade Cunningham, if I got these young players, I am not trying to get a guy like Kyrie Irving or Russell Westbrook to come in and demand the basketball and stunt the growth of my young studs. No, we want to try to do our best to develop Jalen Green. And if the Magic take Chet Holmgren, Jalen Smith, Paulo, I forget his last name, then they don't want a Kyrie or a Russell Westbrook on their roster. So, but we just, these are so dumbfounding to me. The fact that everyone keeps saying that the Lakers, in Sham's report, it said that the Lakers were had interest in Kyrie Irving. Duh. If you could get rid of Russell Westbrook somehow and get Kyrie Irving, yeah, they'd be interested in that. But the Lakers have no legitimate trade assets beyond Anthony Davis. And to me, if I'm the Lakers, I'm not giving up Anthony Davis for Kyrie Irving, even though Anthony Davis is injury prone. I think Kyrie Irving has way more question marks. And when they're both on the court, I would say Anthony Davis is a little better basketball player because he's such a good defender. Plus, he's younger. So, a couple other aspects here. Kyrie Irving, when the season ended and they got swept by the Boston Celtics, said after that game, "When I say I'm here with Kev, I think that entails us managing the franchise with Joe and Sean." Kyrie Irving just got swept out of the first round of the playoffs and immediately got on the podium and talked about how he was getting a promotion from player to GM, assistant GM. Thought he was getting a promotion to assistant GM. This is the most delusional player in basketball, Kyrie Irving is. And I want to separate some of the on-the-court stuff to, like, not really off the court, but just the guy Kyrie is. If I was his teammate and Kyrie Irving came out, 2 years ago and was talking about guys on the team that he thought were going to be there long term, and he left out like 5 of the guys on the roster, I would be offended by that. And yeah, when you're someone like Bruce Brown, you can't say anything because you're not that big of a name. But if Kyrie talks about all these guys that are in the long-term future and doesn't mention you, to me, that creates friction in the locker room. And when Kyrie comes out and says, "Me and Kev, we're going to be the assistant general manager with Sean Marks, who is their actual GM, and Joe," I forget their owner's last name, but Joe, who's their, Kyrie Irving all of a sudden is going to play GM because he got swept in the first round of the playoffs? What has Kyrie done to deserve to play GM? The reason I got on here is just because I've been listening to these topics all day, and I'm hearing ridiculous trade after ridiculous trade about where Kyrie Irving will end up. And people want to, it's better for views to say that when someone sees a title of a video and it says Kyrie Irving to the Lakers, and you sit there and talk about, could they do a potential Russ for Kyrie trade? You could reunite LeBron and Kyrie and Russ and KD. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The more realistic scenario is that Kyrie signs a couple-year extension. They might even throw some incentive-based things in there, and they move on with their lives in the next 2 years. That's the most realistic thing. The only team that potentially would take a shot on Kyrie is the New York Knicks, and I don't think I would give up real assets for Kyrie Irving. But if you're the Knicks and you're in the media capital of the world and you really want to just make a splash just to get people interested in your squad and maybe create a little more intriguing environment for a guy like Zion, maybe you take a shot at it, but personally I wouldn't. So, and the other thing that people don't take into account is that when reports like this are leaked, generally it's a negotiation tactic. And generally it's one side or the other trying to get the public on their side or put pressure on the other side. So Kyrie's team could release this to try to create some pressure on the Nets to re-sign when they start seeing some of these trades. I mean, John Wall. This person got posted on Bleacher Report, which has millions and millions of followers, and said that the Nets were going to give up Kyrie and Seth Curry for John Wall. That's the media nowadays. And that's why I'm on here on the Break the Silence with Cyborg podcast. That's why I started this show, because there's so much nonsense in the media. And we get so wrapped up in it, and we start to believe some of these things, and they're just simply not true. Here, we're giving you facts. We're going to talk about reality. We're going to analyze things, and we're going to continue to do so. So, if you haven't already, please take a second, like and subscribe to the video. We're going to be talking way more sports. I'm looking forward to it. Planning on doing a draft recap. I'm working on a huge project that'll air next week or the week after, depending on when I get it done. And I'm looking forward to that. But don't listen to these stupid media narratives. They're nonsense. Cyborg out.